You probably have some kind of idea of a bunch of things that you know that you want to be doing on a regular basis. Maybe you want to be exercising consistently and eating better food consistently. You want to read more. You want to work on that business more. You want to do the thing or the things, whatever those might be, but you just can't seem to be disciplined enough. Well, in this video, we're going to aim to solve that problem. I'm going to be giving you a very practical technique to implement that I personally use every day that makes me a lot more disciplined than I would be without this technique. And I know because I've been there. So as I said before, you probably know a bunch of things that you want to be doing on a regular basis, but you struggle with the discipline to be consistent. So when we take a step back and we take a look at what is getting in the way of that consistency, oftentimes, it is other things that we are doing. Things that we know we don't necessarily want to be doing. So instead of eating healthy, maybe eating poorly. Instead of spending time on your business, developing it, maybe you're spending a lot of time scrolling on social media. Instead of making meaningful friendships, maybe you're playing video games. So there's a lot of other things that are taking up your time. And this is important. It's important to recognize that in order to consistently be checking off the things on your to-do list, you have to make sure you're avoiding your to-don't list. And this is exactly why. There's only so many hours in a day. If you want to be more disciplined with doing the things you want to do, that you know you should do, your to-do list on a regular basis, you need to be clearing out space for it by creating a to-don't list and then avoiding the things on that list. You would be amazed at how much more time you have in the day once you clear out the space by making a to-don't list. So that's one aspect of it, right? You have more time. You clear out space for it. And you might not think that is like such a big deal, and you're right. That's like the less significant aspect of it, although it is still important. But the more significant aspect of it is if you're avoiding the bad habits, if you're avoiding the things on your to-don't list, then you're going to be taking down the activation energy for the things on your to-do list, the things that you're trying to build discipline to do every day. It lowers the activation energy because there's less friction. Instead of, oh, I should be working out instead of playing video games, you get rid of the video games, and now there's less to overcome. There's less willpower that has to be involved. Instead of playing the video games, there's nothing else to do, so you're just going to go work out. You'd actually rather work out than do nothing because you're going to be bored. That's one of the biggest cures to procrastination. Allow yourself to be bored by removing the things that you would be doing in place of the things that you know you should be doing. So that means getting rid of the video games when you know you should be exercising instead. Then you're going to be bored enough that you'd actually rather just go work out than sit around and do nothing. Because I'm sure you can observe this in yourself. We crave stimulation. That's why everybody is addicted to their phone and highly stimulating foods and pornography and all of these things. Naturally, we crave stimulation. So allowing yourself to be bored by getting rid of some of the less healthy forms of stimulation is going to make you start to crave stimulation in the form of the things that you want to build discipline in, such as exercising or maybe training in a martial art or consistently working on your business, whatever it might be. So here's your first tangible action step that I want you to go ahead and do in this process of developing more discipline. I want you to go ahead and make a to-don't list. Make a list of things that you know you do while you're procrastinating. A list of things that you know you should probably stay away from. A list of things that are not necessarily serving you and are not necessarily healthy and are taking up your valuable time. So that's the first tangible action step. Now, obviously, I recognize that avoiding your to-don't list is where the biggest struggle is going to be here, right? Like my whole thesis so far has been if you get rid of the things that you do in place of the things you know you should be doing, then the things you should be doing are going to come a lot easier. But the hard part is getting rid of the things that you know you should probably not be doing so much of. right? The hard part is staying away from your to-don't list. So that's where this next part comes in. The most important thing fundamentally that you need to do to stop any behavior is develop the capacity to not act impulsively. So how do we do that? Here's where the real magic comes in. Here is the technique. Here is the practice. Everything else in this process is a trickle-down effect from this. It is a daily meditation practice. Now, that is probably not what you wanted to hear. It is not sexy or shiny or, oh, that sounds easy by any means. But really, meditation auto-corrects your life in so many ways, and this is one of the biggest, most noticeable ways that it does so. And this is because your daily meditation practice is going to develop the capacity for you to not act impulsively. So when those cravings arrive to play video games and to go do the highly stimulating thing that you're probably going to regret and be a little bit ashamed of yourself for spending so much time doing later, when that impulse arrives, you don't have to act on it. You're going to be more likely to not act on it. You're going to be more likely to be able to simply observe it, let it go by, and then go do the thing that you know you should be doing instead. Now, there are many different types and styles of meditation, but I'm just going to share one with you here that you can use to get started on this process of developing more discipline by developing the capacity to not act impulsively. So every day you can set a timer for at least 10 minutes. I recommend minimum 10 minutes to start, but the more the better. 10 minutes is simple enough. It's not too intimidating, especially if you're just beginning. You could sit on a cushion with your legs crossed and your butt elevated, or you could sit on a chair. Just preferably try to have your spine straight up rather than lying down on your bed. This is going to be better for your attention because you don't want to get too sleepy. You want to be alert. So you're going to set the timer for 10 minutes and you're going to simply focus on your breathing. You can use the labels in and out on your inhale and exhale or rising and falling as a means of keeping your attention on your breath. And when other thoughts arise, which they will, you might get distracted for a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, right? Half your meditation might go by and you might have been distracted after like the first 30 seconds. That's okay, that's natural. You're just going to want to recognize when that happens and bring your attention back to your breathing. The point of mindfulness meditation is not to just simply sit there and have no thoughts and be in this like blissful state. It is to strengthen your awareness muscle. And I don't mean a literal muscle, I mean that metaphorically. But the intention of the mindfulness here is to develop the ability to focus and to recognize your mental activity as it happens. Because of this deeper awareness that you're going to be cultivating, right? You're strengthening your awareness muscle through meditation. You're going to be building this capacity to not act impulsively because when the thoughts come, you're going to be able to watch them now. You're not going to be lost just letting them run you blindly. You're going to be able to notice when the impulses arise, like, oh, that cake looks really good. We should have a piece. Or, oh, I worked hard today. Let's go play some video games. And then you waste your time and you don't end up going to the gym or whatever it might be. So you'll be able to observe those impulses and let them go without acting on them. This is the direct link between your meditation practice and the capacity to not act impulsively, right? It's the ability to observe your thoughts, observe your impulses, and rather than letting these impulses run your whole life like animalistic urges, you're going to tap into that human part of you. You're going to tap into that prefrontal cortex and be able to make decisions that are grounded in your higher desires. Right? You're going to want to let your higher desires rule over your lower desires. And this is what is going to help you leave your to-don't list behind in the dust. You're going to be able to watch the impulses that are going to pull you towards those things and not act on them. And then, as I said before, that's just lowering the activation energy for the things that you do want to be doing, that you know you should be doing, even just out of sheer boredom, and your discipline is going to feel like it is there with much more ease. So that is a very practical way to be consistent and disciplined with any goals that you're working towards, with any action that you want to be taking daily. Maybe going to the gym, maybe cooking your own meals and eating healthy, maybe reading more, maybe developing that business. All of it is going to come with a trickle-down effect of this meditation practice. Second tier, developing the capacity to not act impulsively. Third tier, making more room in your day and being able to stay connected to your driving force behind these things that you want to be doing every day. And there you go. You are now the master of your own life when you can implement this. You can choose what your life looks like. Because at the end of the day, who you are is what you do every day. The sum total is divided into all of its individual parts. I speak about that concept more in a video called How to Know Where You Will End Up in Life, and I'll link that below. That's a very powerful video as well. Highly recommend you watch that. I'll actually just put the card right over here as well, so you can go watch that now if you want to, instead of looking for the link in the description. But just one more thing here before I end this video. In a perfect world, you're connected. You're deeply connected to the driving factor behind all these things that you want to be doing. In a perfect world, I'm always deeply connected to the fact that I want to change the world by guiding the general populace into a more conscious way of living. And that connection there is what's going to drive me to make my YouTube videos every day. But if I'm doing all those things on my to-don't list, it's going to be easy to get disconnected from that underlying motive, that underlying vision. It's going to be easy to succumb to all this high stimulation if I'm not consciously telling myself I should be staying away from these things because they take up my time and my energy. So that's where it's very important to have this to-don't list and to be able to develop the capacity to not act impulsively. And that's just one way not being impulsive is going to help your life. There's so many different ways that developing awareness, deeper awareness, and not being impulsive in your decision making is going to help you. But that is just one way. And you can see how this particular way, like being more disciplined, is going to help you create, like this can make or break what your entire life looks like. So I think that's pretty important if you ask me. I know this practice, all these concepts that I'm talking about have really served me. And I think it will really also serve you. So I hope you take this and you run with it, you integrate it into your life every day, and you create the life that you want for yourself with the help of this process. If you guys found value in this video, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.